What if the most famous death in human history didn't happen the way billions of people were taught? What if Jesus actually left the cross alive? And if he did, what would that mean for the story of the resurrection? For almost 2,000 years, Christianity has been built around one extraordinary story. Jesus was crucified, he died, he was buried, and then he rose again. But there is another theory, a theory so controversial that spiritual teacher Osho openly argued that Jesus may never have died on the cross at all. According to this alternative view, Jesus was brutally tortured and crucified, but when he was taken down from the cross, he may have been unconscious rather than dead. At first, that sounds almost impossible, but then you notice something strange inside the gospel story itself. The Gospel of Mark says that Joseph of Arimathea went to Pontius Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. But Pilate was surprised. Why? Because Jesus had already been reported dead. According to the timeline in Mark, Jesus had been hanging on the cross for only several hours. Apparently, Pilate found the speed of his death unusual enough that he called for a Roman centurion and asked him to confirm it. Only after the centurion reported that Jesus had died did Pilate release the body. And that single detail raises a question that has survived for centuries. Could Jesus have still been alive? Some victims of crucifixion were known to survive for much longer periods of time, and that helped inspire what later became known as the swoon theory. The idea that Jesus did not rise from death because, according to this theory, he had never fully died in the first place. Instead, he may have lost consciousness, been removed from the cross, placed inside the tomb, and later recovered. Osho took that possibility even further. He focused on the timing. The crucifixion happened just before the Jewish Sabbath. The bodies had to be removed before the sacred day began. Joseph of Arimathea, a respected man connected to Jesus, received permission to take his body. From Osho's perspective, this opened the door to another possibility. What history remembers as a burial might actually have been a rescue. But there is a major problem. A possibility is not evidence. The very same gospel that tells us Pilate was surprised also tells us that a Roman centurion confirmed that Jesus was dead. And the Gospel of John goes even further. It says that soldiers broke the legs of the other crucified men in order to speed up their deaths. But when they reached Jesus, they believed he was already dead. Then a soldier pierced his side with a spear. So now the mystery becomes even more complicated. Was Jesus simply unconscious, or had the Romans correctly determined that the execution was complete? Medical research does not give us one simple answer about exactly how crucifixion killed every victim. Researchers have proposed severe blood loss, traumatic shock, respiratory failure, cardiac complications, or a combination of several different injuries. But one important point is clear. There is no accepted medical law saying that a victim of crucifixion must survive for 48 hours before death becomes possible. A severely scourged, bleeding, exhausted person could die much sooner. And then, there is evidence outside Christian scripture. Around the beginning of the 2nd century, the Roman historian Tacitus wrote about a man he called Christus. Tacitus said that this figure suffered the death penalty during the reign of Emperor Tiberius, under Pontius Pilate. Tacitus was not writing a Christian gospel. He was a Roman historian, writing about Christians. His words cannot prove that Jesus rose from the dead, but they matter because they show that the execution of Jesus was not remembered only within Christian religious texts. And then comes perhaps the strangest part of the entire story: Kashmir. Osho claimed that Jesus eventually recovered, escaped Judea, traveled east, and lived the rest of his life in Kashmir. In Srinagar, there stands a shrine known as Roza Bal. Some traditions connect the man buried there, Uz Asaf, with Jesus. And long before Osho repeated this story, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement, argued that Jesus had survived the crucifixion, traveled to Kashmir, and eventually died there. It is an extraordinary story, but extraordinary stories require extraordinary evidence. Historical scholarship has not established that the man buried at Roza Bal was Jesus of Nazareth. There is no known 1st century travel record showing Jesus traveling from Judea to Kashmir. No contemporary Roman document describes his escape, and no accepted archaeological discovery proves that Jesus lived there after the crucifixion. So, what are we left with? Not one story, but three different layers. History tells us that Jesus was crucified, and that the evidence strongly favors his death. Alternative theories ask whether he might somehow have survived. And Christian faith goes one step further, claiming that he truly died, and then returned to life. History can investigate an execution. Medicine can examine what crucifixion does to the human body. Ancient documents can tell us what people believed, but none of them can place a camera inside that tomb 2,000 years ago. So maybe the real question should never be, have Christians been lying to us? The deeper question is far more uncomfortable. What do we actually know? What do we only believe? And when history, spirituality, and faith collide, are we brave enough to know the difference?